Hi, this is going to be an educational rant video, and it's going to be an educational rant video about door chimes. This is a NuTone model K26, and this was made in 1956, and this is a NuTone model LD49N chime base, and it was made sometime after 1995. Both of these had exactly the same problem. This one's already been repaired. This one hasn't been yet. I did this one first, and then I was starting on this one, and what I saw kind of cheesed me off, and I decided it's time for a rant video. And don't let me forget, at the end when we get done talking about these two, I'm going to tell you about a third one. I don't have it here. It's from a while ago, but it also cheesed me off. So we're looking at the K26 chime base from 1956. I'm going to hook it up to my bench power supply to make it operate. The lady's complaint was she actually dropped this off at my office this morning. She called me on the way to work because she lives in San Ramon where we're located, and she was having her house remodeled, and she wants to keep the doorbell, and her husband hates the doorbell, and she wants to get it fixed, and I told her drop it off and I'll fix it for you. I went to hook it up to see what shape it was in before I began. This is a fairly common design. It's a fairly simple design. It has one moving part. So, you know, there's not that much that goes wrong with them. When I went to hook it up to try it out, what you want to watch for is at this end, there'll be a plunger that pops out, and at this end, the other plunger is supposed to pop out. This side is first, this side is second. So watch it carefully. Now, to you, that may look normal. Let's do it this way where you can actually see it better. What you want to watch for is not so much how it pops out, but how it retracts. So what are you supposed to be seeing? Well, the way this works is when you energize the electromagnetic coil, it forces the metal plunger to shoot out through the end, which is this part. And then when you remove the power, which is when the person at the front door takes their finger off the doorbell button, the spring that's around the plunger that has been compressed, when you take your finger off the button, the solenoid de-energizes, and the built-up force in the spring causes the plunger to shoot back, and it's supposed to pop out of this side. And what comes out of this side is entirely based on the force of the spring, not electrical. So watch what happens as it goes back in. See how it very slowly creeps back in? When we get done with this, I'll show you how it's supposed to work. And if we look at this side, and we energize it, guess what? It doesn't come out. And I'll try to make it fairer. I'll keep it horizontal. It doesn't pop out. As soon as I tried this, the very first time I hooked power up to it, I knew exactly what was wrong with it. I've taken the power unit assembly off the base because it's easier to work on, and what we need to do is remove this end cap. This is not an end cap on this side, that's the end of the tube. Only this side is the end cap. And all you need to do to pull it off, usually they're just a press fit, use a pair of little needle nose pliers or something, and you simply slide it off. And when I slid it off before I started the video, my suspicion was correct. So let's take that out. We're going to withdraw the first spring, and we'll put it in a cup so we don't lose it, and we'll tip it, and we'll probably have to push the plunger out a little bit to get it to slide out. And then there's a second spring, which normally would fall out on its own, but because of the problem this one has, it doesn't want to, so we'll use a small screwdriver and sort of see if we can get it to slide out here. There it is. Alright, so I'll tell you what, let's put it like this. And now, let's talk about what's wrong with this one. So here's a piece of white paper towel, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of it and we're going to roll it up like this. And we're going to put it into the bore of the solenoid, and we're going to stuff it all in. Comes out the other side, and we push it back through like this. And maybe we can see. I can see it. I don't know. There you go. Maybe you can see that. So, see the white paper towel? See on the high point right in the middle of my palm, you've got this like greenish colored stuff. Guess what that is? That's oil. And if we take the little piece of paper towel and we mop around inside the end cap like this, there's a whole bunch more oil. And if we take the other end, which is still relatively clean, and we wipe the plunger assembly down, there's more oil. So that's the problem. The sluggish operation of this chime was caused entirely because somebody decided, oh, I'll put some oil in it. Now, let's look at what it says right here. And it's a little worn off, so you get a little bit, a halfway pass on this. Right here it says, stamped into the front of it where the wires go, it actually says do not, and it's supposed to say oil, but someone's got some house paint dripped on it. But you're not going to get a full pass on this, because here on the chime base, what does it say down here at the bottom? It says do not oil power unit. It says service instructions to clear striker. It explains steps 1 through 3 what to do. Let's review steps 1 through 3. Service instructions to clean striker. 1. Remove duplex unit from base plate. That's this. Place a few drops of lighter fluid or naphtha into the end of the sleeve while held with the open ends up and down. That means like this. Shake unit very gently until striker moves freely in service. Caution, violent shaking may permanently damage plunger springs, so don't go crazy. Number 4, replace unit on base. Then it says in the boldest, darkest letters on the whole little thing, do not oil power unit. Every single NuTone chime, somewhere on the chime says do not oil the power unit. This one, right here, the LD49 base, right over here, on the label where you have service instructions, plungers must operate freely, down here in the bottom in red bold letters, underlined even, it says do not oil plungers. Guess what was wrong with this one? Somebody oiled all the plungers and they were all sticky and gummy and they wouldn't shoot out fast enough to strike the tubes properly, so the lady said, I don't think it works anymore. And the electrician told her, oh, it's really old, you got to buy a new one. Who knows, maybe he's the guy that put the oil in it. Do not oil the plungers. Now for the third one. The third one is a story. Oh, and you can also tell all the oil because here on my work mat, there's little dabs of oil all over it because the springs are all covered in oil also and all like that. Stop oiling your door chimes. You're not supposed to do it. It's the wrong thing to do. All right, the third one, the one that's not here anymore. This is from 6 or 7 months ago. So a fella in Los Angeles called me. He had a NuTone 2-note long tube door chime that was made sometime in 1947 or 1948, and that's one of the ones where it has an assembly that's completely different than this. It has an upper solenoid with plungers and a lower one for the rear door, and it has the same problems all really old chimes had. The plungers needed to be cleaned, the bores and the solenoids needed to be cleaned, it needed new tips, and. It's a normal thing. We fix them all the time, and if I remember, I'll put a little one of those pop-up tags right in here somewhere, and it'll take you to a video about that kind of chime. So I rebuild it, I clean it, I service it, I make new tips on it, and every single time we fix one of these, at the end, I put it on our chime testing jig, and I hook it up, and put tubes on it and make sure it rings properly. And his did. It sounded really good. It was pretty awesome because it's a really nice chime. So I send it back to the guy and he puts it back up, and it had specific reinstallation instructions that came along with it, because those really early chimes, it's not just about hooking up the wires, it's about you have to hang the tubes before you ring it the first time, because the tubes are the stops for the plungers and blah 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 blah. And it's a very well written and clear step-by-step instruction sheet that was wrapped around the chime with a big rubber band so you couldn't possibly miss it. And of course he doesn't look at it. So he puts the chime up, he doesn't hang the tubes, he walks out to the front door, pushes the button, makes the solenoid shoot out the right side, and it's supposed to hit the first tube, which makes it stop, and then you let go and it bounces back and hits the other tube. Well, if you don't have a tube in place, there's nothing to stop the tube or the plunger, and the plunger comes out just a little further than it's really supposed to, and then it gets kind of stuck, and then you have to take your finger and push it back in, and then it goes back in and it's okay again. So what does he do? Now this is a guy that I had extensive conversations with about the whole thing. So he puts oil in it. Why did he do that? Well, I thought it needed oil because it got stuck. No, it got, and then he calls me and says, oh, it's not working right, it doesn't hit very hard. Well, no, it doesn't hit very hard because you put oil in it. And it said, I tell him, did you read the yellow sheet with the instructions? Oh, no, I didn't. Was that important? Yeah, it was kind of important. So now the thing has just been fixed. I did my very best job to fix it, and because the guy won't read the instructions, which are important because you have to understand how to put it back up, now he put oil in it. Oh, now what do I do? Well, you have to get some lighter fluid, and you have to follow the instructions that I'm going to give you on how you flush it out and get the oil out of it and everything. Well, I don't have any lighter fluid. I said, you're going to have to go down and buy one. Oh, can I use paint thinner? It's like, no, you have to use lighter fluid. Where do I get lighter fluid? I don't know, at 7-Eleven, at your local cigarette store. If you got a cigar store in your town, maybe they have some. You have to get some 7-Eleven. Go to Circle K. They usually have some behind the counter. But yeah, oh, can I use barbecue lighter fluid? No, you can't use barbecue lighter fluid. Oh, how about WD-40? I said, that's just going to make it worse. Stop putting oil in your door chime. Stop oiling it. That's why they all say, do not oil the power unit assembly. Do not oil the plunger. Stop putting oil in your door chimes. All you're doing is fouling it up. This lady's door chime probably didn't have any kind of real problem at all. The only problem is somebody put oil in it and that gummed it all up so it doesn't work properly. So stop putting oil in your door chimes. This video is going to be listed on every single playlist that I have about door chimes because this is just nonsense. I hope some of you found this interesting, and I hope for some of you it's a cautionary tale and maybe you'll learn something from it. I had a viewer recently tell me, I really like your channel, I follow all of your videos, I especially like the rant videos, you should make more of them. I said, as long as people stop screwing up, I don't have to make them. I hope you found this interesting and helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. If not, what can I say? There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. Go to our YouTube homepage, click on the bell, and when you click on the bell, click on it to receive all notifications, and every time we post a new video, you'll get a notification and you can watch it. That's all for today. See you on the next video. Stop oiling your doorbells. And I bet you thought I forgot to show you how it works after it's done. This has been cleaned and serviced. All of the inappropriate oil has been removed. What did I use to remove it with? I used lighter fluid. This is Zippo brand because that's what our local cigar shop, no I don't smoke, has on hand, and I like to support our local businesses. And besides, it's low odor, fast igniting, and clean burning. Not that we're igniting and burning a door chime, but what are you going to do? If you don't like Zippo, you can buy Ronson. It comes in yellow cans. That's good too. All right, this has been cleaned. Now, I'm going to energize it, and you're going to watch here first. And if you happen to really be paying attention, you now see that on the return, it pops out of the left-hand side all on its own. It goes kind of fast. Well, what are you going to do? And all of the force that makes it return and pop out the left-hand side is all from the spring that's been compressed on the right-hand side. If we go like this, as we did before, so you can see it, now watch it pop out and then watch it pop back in. And actually when it pops out, since it's not being, the force of the plunger is not being reduced by the drag of the oil, and yes, oil does create a lot of drag on something like this. It's not like wheel bearings in your car, which is actually grease, but what are you going to do? It actually goes ka-thunk when it comes out. And you can see on the return, it virtually instantly disappears. Not creep back in like it's a 90-year-old cat. Nice and strong, pops back in, works great. There's out, and it just virtually disappears. And when it does that, on this side, you can see clearly the red tip pop out. If we do the rear door didn't actually work at all before. I don't think I showed you that, but it didn't. If we do this, it pops out. This is how it's supposed to work. Not the other way when you load it up with some 1030 that you bought on sale at the local 7-Eleven. Stop oiling your door chimes. See ya.